What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. We just had a Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase, and it's not what exactly people wanted to see from Nintendo. We finally wanted that big juicy Nintendo Direct for the summer to really show us everything that's coming this year, more information on the games that we don't know about this year, and of course games coming next year. But instead, we got a third-party partner showcase showing us games coming to the Nintendo Switch, but not necessarily made by Nintendo and Nintendo only. But that's okay, because there's still a chance for us to get more information on first-party Nintendo games as well, because let's face it, we need to. The only game that we really got out of this was Mario Rabbids, and we finally got a release date of October, which probably means it's one of our bigger holiday games and maybe just our big October game this year, which is not terrible, but it is a third-party game and we still want to see more from Nintendo's first-party exclusives. But that was really it for Nintendo's kind of first-party lineup at all. We really don't know anything else. They didn't even really mention Bayonetta at all, which we know is in that weird position where it's like second-party technically, but everything else was just some, okay third-party games in my opinion, with the exception of Pac-Man. That was freaking amazing. But it is making people wonder, is Bayonetta getting delayed? Is there going to be a separate presentation for Bayonetta outside of a Nintendo Direct or something? Or maybe its own special Direct? Well, there's still a lot of things also that Nintendo has to talk on, and it would just make sense for them to throw this in a general Direct in the first place, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Well, besides Bayonetta, is there anything else that Nintendo needs to talk about for this year? Well, yes. For one, we definitely need Wave 2 of Mario Kart 8 DLC. The Booster Pass was announced back in February, and I think the tracks released, just a couple weeks later in March. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So it's been a very long time, and we expected to get a new wave pretty much every single Nintendo Direct if Nintendo is going to have 3 waves each year, 3 this year and 3 next for the total 6. Everybody thought Directs would be when this was revealed. Of course, we didn't have a big summer Direct, so that kind of throws a wrench in the plans. Or does it? It's very weird to me that Nintendo wouldn't have announced this as a Twitter drop already if it wasn't going to appear in a big June Direct, because June is now pretty much over. We are now moving on into July, and there's still no word, no Twitter drop, no information about this next wave of Mario Kart DLC tracks. So, it's either one of 2 things to me in my head. 1, Nintendo is still waiting on that big Direct to talk about it, or 2, Nintendo's waiting for an empty month for them to actually, release this since they don't have a big game plan. For instance, July only has Xenoblade 3, and where June had Mario Strikers and also had Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, plus a lot of other Directs, they probably didn't want to jam-pack the month. And August right now has nothing, so maybe they're waiting for July or August, where a month where there's no games, so this can kind of be the filler month. Along with Bayonetta and Mario Kart, we have Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 is probably without a doubt going to get its own Nintendo Direct dedicated to the game like a month before release, but I still think Nintendo wants to show off some more of this game in a general Direct before diving deep. I still think they maybe want to show off some more single player a little bit more, or something like that's big coming to the game that we don't know yet, because there's got to be still one more big thing that they haven't talked about. So I think there's still one more kind of reveal before their own Direct comes around August. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp still needs a new release date. They could easily just throw this on Twitter, I know, but I still feel like they might decide to wait for a Nintendo Direct. Maybe that's why they've been waiting so long again, so that this could be kind of one of the bigger reveals for the Nintendo Direct. I know it's already been announced and already supposed to come out, but Nintendo, they will still treat this as a big reveal since it technically hasn't come out yet, and they'll probably talk about it a little bit more and give it a little bit more coverage again to hype it up once again. They don't want to send this game out to die since it's been so long. Now, Pokemon for sure will have its own Pokemon Direct, their own Pokemon Presents thing later on this year, probably for the game. But I feel like Nintendo still wants to cover it as well. We've seen Nintendo, especially new gens, definitely cover Pokemon a little bit. They did with Sword and Shield during E3 a lot. I remember seeing it. So they might want to cover this a little bit more, especially since all Nintendo fans are watching this Nintendo Direct. It's probably going to be a good way for them to advertise the game for people that may not be huge Pokemon fans, showing how this is a new open world experience and kind of something that maybe if you liked Zelda, you could like this, but it has an RPG twist to it. So, I know Nintendo does that stuff all the time. They want to always find new players and stuff. So this is a great way to kind of advertise to a bigger audience. There's also more update information we need on current games, such as the Nintendo Switch Sports game that just launched. It's confirmed that we will be getting more updates to the game, and one of those big updates is just adding more sports. As we know, we're getting golf this fall. Well, as we get towards the summer and towards the end of the summer eventually, they're going to have to start talking about this thing, and maybe they want to actually start talking about this this during a Nintendo Direct, because maybe there's more sports that they want to announce ahead of time as well. Maybe they'll say golf is still coming, show what golf is going to be added and what other things are going to be added to the game to make the experience more fun and fulfilling, and also talk about some of those future sports as well. Maybe another sport for the winter, another sport for the beginning of next year, and kind of give a roadmap for what's to come to this game would be really cool. And it's something that, yes, they could still add as a Twitter drop, but I feel like is another thing to add to the list of why they need a Nintendo Direct. And the same exact thing goes for Mario Strikers Battle League. The game launched with kind of some incredibly low amount of content, so maybe there's some big stuff coming to the game, maybe some extra modes to play around with, like mini games and stuff, and of course, new characters, because there's not a lot of characters in this game already, and there's not a lot of stadiums either. And we know once again that it is confirmed that we will be getting updates to this game. And I think we've even had a couple of leaks so far, such as Shy Guy coming to the game. So maybe some of these characters can get announced and revealed very soon, and a Nintendo Direct is a great way to do so. Now, maybe I forgot something else, but that is generally everything that we know of so far that they could definitely talk more about. But there's even rumors of even more games coming this year. For instance, apparently there's a Metroid Prime Remastered coming later this year, and almost every leaker is extremely sure of this. Apparently the game is slated to come in November, and there's a lot more information with this as well, which we'll get to towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around because there could be a big secret. But besides that, we really want to just see Metroid Prime this year, and of course Nintendo is not going to just Twitter drop this. They need to continue to hype Metroid up as much as they can, especially since they got Metroid Prime 4 coming, one of their bigger games of the entire Nintendo Switch cycle. So they definitely need to show this to a general audience and not something to just throw on Twitter. That would be extremely bad marketing, and it would not sell as well. I promise you right now, not too many people would understand it, or not too many people will really get the notification about it. So they need to drop this in a Nintendo Direct where all eyes are on this, and it just has to happen if this game is coming. Maybe there's even more updates to games that we don't even know about right now, still could be coming towards the end of this year, such as Kirby. What if they want to talk about some Kirby stuff, and maybe Kirby and the Forgotten Land is finally getting some DLC, adding to the game and expanding new worlds and copy abilities? That's something they definitely should talk about. Even if it's coming just next year, but early next year, they should definitely bring this up, because I think people would lose their minds over this. Or something else related to Kirby, maybe even some older games coming to the Switch, such as some of the 3DS titles would be great, especially since we're still in its anniversary year, and there has been rumors of more Kirby games coming to the Switch and just older ones coming to the Switch. I'll say this again, my gut is still kind of telling me that Nintendo, the reason they had this Partner Direct showcase is because they weren't ready for a general Direct yet. They wanted to wait. And my guess is that they're just going to ride out July and August and wait for a big Direct in September. That's exactly what I think they're going to do. But there is also a very, very good chance that Nintendo could come out in the next month or so, literally like in July, and say, you know what, this is our big Direct, and not even have one in September. Maybe it's just a big summer one and they call it a break. What if I were to tell you that there is some slight evidence that we could very well be getting a Nintendo Direct in the next couple of weeks? Now, of course, before I even start talking about this, take this with the grainiest of grain of salt. There is no evidence. I am not saying this is happening. I'm not saying that this is confirmed. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm just bringing up some little bit of information that I've found throughout the internet, and just kind of trying to generate some hype, get you guys excited for this summer, because it's a good thing to be excited. We're young, let's be happy. At least most of us are young. Some of us are old, but you know what? We're still happy because Nintendo can bring us joy sometimes. So once again, with a grain of salt, I'm gonna give you this information. Marco Mero, a insider, one of the people that actually leaked the Partner Direct mini showcase that actually was leaked, like, I think 3 or 4 days before it even came out, maybe even longer than that. I think it was like a couple of weeks before it even came out. Anyways, they commented on these big rumors and stuff from Jeff Grubb stating that Metroid Prime Remaster is planned to release this holiday. But they also said something else. They said, I'm 1,125% sure that this is real, and 713% sure that this might be revealed soon. What's up with those numbers? Well, 7/13 could correlate to July 13th for a reveal date of this game, and 11/25 could correlate to November 25th as to when this game is actually going to drop. But at least on paper, these dates make sense, because July 13th is on a Wednesday and the second Wednesday of July, which is normally when big directs happen, and November 25th is on a Friday, I think the last Friday of November, so obviously you know, even if this was made up, the dates make sense. They're gonna make sense. That's when games drop and that's when directs kind of air. But it's very interesting because I don't think Nintendo's just gonna reveal this game randomly on Twitter the second week of July. And I don't think like there's a way that they would even plan that and how anybody would even know that in advance. So that's telling me that this could very well be the date of a new Nintendo Direct, finally the big Direct we've been waiting for. And Mark Romero has been saying for a while that there's 3 Directs coming and that this mini partner Direct showcase was the second one, with the Xenoblade 3 one being the first. And a lot of people just assumed that Splatoon 3 was going to be the third one. Well, maybe not. Maybe this general Direct is actually the third one. Now, there's something else that went under the radar, I think, for a lot of people, is from the Nintendo Versus channel. They announced a Splatoon Inkopolis Showdown 2022 tournament that starts this Friday. It says bring some Splatoon with the action, kicks off at 4 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget to stream the finals on the second day of each tournament at 2 p.m. Pacific. And it just has a register link, but pay attention to the picture here. It has the dates for this tournament, and these dates fall on Friday and Saturday every single week of July, except for the third week. They're oddly missing the 15th and the 16th, and I really haven't seen anybody bring this up, but that's very odd, and it's not for Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 3 actually comes out July 29th, which is the same day as one of these tournaments, so that clearly isn't a problem here. Why are they just oddly missing this week? It also weirdly lines up with Mark Romero, since they hinted at something happening on the 13th, so it's very interesting. Of course, once again, take this with a grain of salt. There's no confirmation right now what's going on. We'll probably get confirmation as the weeks go on from leakers or for some inside information or something, but for right now, let's not get our hopes up. This could mean absolutely nothing, and it could just be, you know, a normal day like we probably are expecting it to be in the first place. But of course, we have to wonder when this next big general Nintendo Direct is going to be, and hopefully it is coming soon. I hope we don't have to wait all the way until September, or maybe even longer, because there's still games even next year that we need to know about. We need to know more about Breath of the Wild 2, and a lot of other their big titles, because we don't know anything else coming next year. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Nintendo is going to have a big Direct soon? Is it going to be in September, or are we done for the year? Is Nintendo just going to go throughout the rest of the year with what we know, and that's it? Let me know what you think down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you love today's update, leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo all the time. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.